Everyone swears by the 23mm for street photography or the 35mm full frame equivalent. Cool, but if you're just copying that without thinking about how you actually shoot, you're wasting potential. There are plenty of X-mount lenses that work for street, plenty of great third-party options as well. It honestly depends on what your shooting style is, what you want from a lens, and what kind of images you're actually trying to make, and your budget as well. Yeah, the 23mm is the most common answer, but there's more to it than that. In today's video, I'll walk you through the X-mount lenses that are actually worth using for street photography, based on how you shoot, how close you like to get, whether you want people to notice you or not. I'll also show you a few of my third-party options that I've tested over the years for the budget-friendly folks out there as well. And stick around until the end because I'm going to share with you what I think is the best street photography lens that I ever used on the Fujifilm X-mount. Let's go. Let's start off with what I look for when I want a lens for street photography. This is in accordance to what I value. Now, I've been shooting with different lenses lately, and the ones that I do enjoy for street photography all have something in common. First off, a compact size. You need to have something stealthy, something that is not going to draw attention to you. I find in the town that I live here in the Algarve, as soon as they see your camera pointing in their directions, they are going to shield themselves from you taking a photo. Second thing that I look for in a street photography lens is something with fast autofocusing. These moments are constantly fleeting, so you need something decent to acquire quick focus for that sharp photo. It needs to be silent or near silent operation. It's not trying to alert everyone with its autofocusing, grinding, clunky noise. Another thing I look for is weather resistant. It's not essential, but it's nice when you're caught in some sideways rain. Let's talk about focal length. Gotta pick the lens that matches how close you're comfortable of getting. Now that I gave you what I'm looking for in a street photography lens, I want to break down some other focal lengths that I've tried, which I think is great for street photography as well. I want to give you a breakdown, starting with the 18mm. The 18mm is a 28mm in full frame equivalent. It's wide. You're gonna get a full scene, layers, movement, messy city detail. It's not forgiving. You have to work for composition, so it's quite challenging because of how wide it is. But if you nail the composition, it's great. Someone like Reggie B, shout out to him because he uses the Ricoh GR3 and that lens on that camera is like a 27mm equivalent, 28mm equivalent. Reggie's photos, man, this dude's composition and framing is eye candy for me. So shout out to Reggie. He's very good with this focal length. Now this focal length is best for fast shooters, chaotic streets, and people who know how to work corners. Use the XF 18mm f2 if you're on a budget and want something tiny, or the f1.4 WR version if you want the modern autofocusing and don't mind the size bump. I used to own the 18mm f1.4 lens and it's great. It's sharp, it has quick and snappy autofocus with weather sealing. However, the 18mm focal length isn't for me for all the reasons that I've listed. It's just like too much for me to handle. Now let's move on to the 23mm or the 35mm full frame equivalent. This is the default and this is what people are going to always recommend to newbie photographers out there. And for a good reason. It showcases a balanced frame. It has enough context without losing your subject. It's great for shooting from the hip. Use the XF 23mm f2 WR for a clean, fast setup, or an f1.4 WR if you want shallow depth of field and don't mind a bit of weight. There are many third-party options that are great as well. It's not a 23mm, some of it is a 25mm. You got the Viltrox 25mm f1.7, and this is a budget alternative lens, and I think it's a great lens for the price. You get great image quality, fast wide aperture at f1.7, and it's light and compact. Everything you can ask for in a street photography lens as well. There are other third-party lenses that I haven't tried, so if I didn't mention it, you know why. Now let's talk about the 27mm or the 40mm full frame equivalent. Now this lens is a bit of a tweener. It's not a 35 and it's not a 50mm equivalent. It's stuck in the middle between the two at 40mm. What I have to say about this lens, it's weirdly good. No one talks about it, and I find whenever I'm out taking photos of the town, the 40mm is the sweet spot for me. It has natural framing, it's still close enough to feel personal, it's ultra compact. This is the slip it in your jacket pocket setup. The lenses that or in this category, is the XF 27mm f2.8 WR. It is a pancake lens, and there are other options that I tried, such as the 27mm f2.8 from 7Artisans and as well as TTArtisans. Both take fantastic images, and the ultimate pocket camera setup is the Viltrox 27mm f4.5 chip lens. Now, when I was using this lens to shoot around town, I found the shooting experience to be quite pleasant. It's literally a chip. The only downside is the aperture. It's fixed at f4.5, so you cannot open it or close it down. But the images I got were sharp. I had a lot of fun shooting with this lens because of how truly compact it is. There's also the 35mm focal length, which is a 50mm full frame. Usually the one lens that people start out with when they first start getting into the world of primes. It's more intimate. You're stepping back a bit. It's great for people who want a bit of distance or like isolating the subject more. So the lenses I would use for street photography here is the XF 35mm f1.4 if you want character and don't care about snappy autofocus, or the XF 35mm f2 WR if you want the speed and the weather sealing. There are so many third-party lenses making their own versions of the 50mm equivalent, and they are all great as well. Some of my favorites are the Meike 33mm f1.4. I feel this is the best third-party lens you can buy for around 300 bucks, and I think in some ways it challenges the XF 33mm f1.4, and that lens is around $800 to $900. It's sharp, it has great image quality, bokeh looks nice, it has a rubber gasket seal to keep away dust and moisture in the back of the lens, but it is a bit bigger and not as compact as the Fuji f2 lenses. There is also the Viltrox 35mm f1.7, and again, for the amount of money you're paying, this lens performs well above expectations. It's small, it's compact, it's stealthy enough, and it's a sub $200 lens. There's also the TTArtisan's 35mm f1.8. There's also the 7Artisans 35mm f1.4 that I also reviewed on this channel. These lenses all have their pros and cons, so check out these videos on my YouTube channel if you want to know more. Now let's talk about the 56mm, which is an 85mm in full frame equivalent. It's not a classic street, but it's still like there's still a time and a place for them. It's great for portraits or stealing moments from across the street. Now, if you want that compression look, this would be the lens for that. And if you just want to snipe people from afar, this would be it. The lenses I would use here is the XF 56mm f1.2 if you want that dreamy background and don't mind shooting a bit slower. I'm also going to include the XF 50mm f2 into this category as well. And I think this 50mm f2 fits into every single category that I've mentioned. It's small, it's compact, it's stealthy, it's quick autofocus, it has weather resistant, and it takes some beautiful looking images. I've always said that the XF 50mm f2 is one of the most underrated lenses in the Fujifilm X lens lineup. Not many people talk about it, but it performs really great. And it's way smaller than the 56mm f1.2 from Fuji. There are other lenses you can get as well, like the Sigma 56mm. You also have the Meike version, which is great as well. Viltrox has the 56mm f1.7 Air. That is compact. It also performs quite well for the price. So there are many lenses to choose from depending on your budget. It's really a great time to be a Fujifilm shooter. There are just so many good, legit third-party options out there. Chinese brands that are coming up in the world producing lenses that are just as great or if not better than the native lenses from Fuji. So if you like getting close with the layered chaos, but I find that composition with this focal length challenging but rewarding once it's nailed, go for the 18mm focal length. Whichever one you can afford. If you like balanced frames, fast pace, the most ideal for street photography, it gives you a bit of everything, go for the 23mm focal length. If you want something minimal, jacket pocket setup, underrated focal length, it just gives you a little bit of reach that you can use, and it's in between the 35 and the 50mm full frame. Get the 27mm lens. If you want more subject isolation, and this is for the shy, non-confrontational street photographers out there, get the 35mm lens. If you want to shoot from the distance because you're a little shy, get the 56mm lens. You don't need all of them, you just need to pick one or two that matches how you actually move and think. I want to recap what I think makes for a great street photography lens. It has to be small, it has to be compact, it has to be stealthy, quick and snappy autofocusing, and weather resistant, but this one is optional. With that in mind, I really want to put you on to what I think is the best lens that I ever use for street photography, and that is the Fujifilm XF 23mm f2 WR. It ticks off everything that I think goes on my checklist. And when I was using it to shoot around town, combined it with my my Fujifilm camera, it was honestly a great setup. I wasn't getting any looks. People didn't realize that I had a camera in my hand, and it took some great looking images in my opinion. Again, I think if you want a stealthy street photography lens for your Fujifilm camera, this lens should be at the forefront of your decisions. However, because I'm not a sole street photographer, I did find the f2 limiting. I wanted the f1.4 for the bokeh, so I opted for the XF 23mm f1.4 WR LM instead. It checks off everything in the box as well. It's just a little bit bigger, but because I also shoot portraits, I would love to have the f1.4 for just, you know, the more shallower depth of field for my images, to get that background blur. Just know that the XF 23mm f2 is what I think is one of the best street photography lens you can get for your Fujifilm camera. But it's just not that lens as well. I think I provided you with several options here, which I think are great alternatives if you can't afford the 23mm f2. Because it is a bit pricier than these third-party options out here. I also have to admit that the Viltrox chip lens for the X-mount has been a surprising lens for me as well. I'm enjoying it quite a bit, and when I was using it around town, I did not feel it hindering me. And it's so small, man. Attach this to my Fujifilm X-S20, it fits in my pants pocket, which is crazy. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you've learned something, please subscribe to my channel, as it helps me out a whole lot when it comes to YouTube's algorithm. And if you're interested in any of these lenses that I've mentioned, links are down in the description as well. And what are your thoughts? What is your go-to street photography lens? Let me know down in the comment section below. And thanks so much.